All right, all right, all right. Let's talk about it. Vasyl Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez are rumored. The word is, this is, I do believe, from Mike. It's either Mike Coppinger or Mike Benson out of the UK that put this out. So respect to them. That they're supposed to be fighting or leaning towards fighting on May 30th on pay-per-view. And let me assure you, if they do that, that fight, that tells a lot about Vasyl Lomachenko. And it's not going to be, and what I mean is, they're about to ship him off, man. I'm telling you, if they put this thing on if this winds up being on pay-per-view, they are cashing this dude out, man. I promise you. And I'll explain to you why in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. Vasyl Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez are planning to flop on May 30th on pay-per-view. There's no way that this fight is going to perform well on pay-per-view for several reasons. But before I get into that, I want to say, just to remind people who these people are, they're supposed to be fighting to unify 3 belts in the lightweight division. The IBF belt that is held by Teofimo Lopez that he won off of Richard Comey, and the WBO and the WBA belts that are held by Vasyl Lomachenko. Vasyl Lomachenko was the WBC champion, but he was elevated or pretty much vacated his belt and went to a franchise champion so that he wouldn't have to have any pressure to fight his mandatory at the time, which was Devin Haney. So they've got this fight, which is a good fight. Teofimo Lopez is a very good fighter. Vasyl Lomachenko obviously is a very, very good fighter. And so I would like to see the fight. I'm looking forward to the fight. But when I heard that the fight was going to be made, I was like, okay, this is going to be ESPN or this is going to be ESPN Plus. They're not going to put this on pay-per-view, because it's not going to do well on pay-per-view. But then I remembered, oh, this is what used to happen on HBO. HBO would put Gennady Golovkin on pay-per-view, and they put I don't think that the Terrence Crawford fight with Postal was actually on show HBO's pay-per-view. But what HBO used to do is they would put some fights on pay-per-view that wouldn't do particularly well, but it didn't matter to them because they were just taking the cost of the fight off of their books. So, you know, if they have a break even to it, then hey man, they don't really pay for anything. The fight fans that paid for it, because, you know, they were paying on a pay-per-view basis. And if it if it didn't do as well as they wanted, then they still don't lose as much money as they would have if they would have paid for that fight and put it on regular HBO, or in this case, put it on regular ESPN. So, you know, for them, it's a win-win. The fighters, you know, depending on what their contracts say, I'm sure they get guarantees, but there's an upside on that as well. But this is why I'm saying, man, that it just seems like Terrence, that Top Rank is pretty much tapping out or on the way to tapping out on Vasyl Lomachenko. This is not a situation where they're trying to build Vasyl Lomachenko, because if they wanted to build him and have more people know about him and all that, they would put it on regular ESPN for people to see him. But as we know, he's fought on ESPN, he's fought on ESPN Plus, he was fighting on HBO, and he has just never been a tremendously big draw. And at this stage in his career, with the performance that he has had at 135 pounds, there's not the same amount of awe and excitement around him as they set up when he was at 130 pounds. You know, the Lomachenko. Lomachenko is no mas. There is no Lomachenko is no mas. Okay, he in the fights that he has had at 135 pounds, he has fought Jorge Linares. He did wind up stopping Jorge Linares after having got dropped. He did stop Anthony $1 Million Corrala, but that was just straight scrub match. But then he went the distance against Jose Pedraza. And then in his last fight, man, who did he fight in his last fight? I think he also went the distance again. But I'm having a hard time remembering who the last guy that Vasyl Lomachenko fought. Excuse me, Luke Campbell. He went the distance against Luke Campbell. So the Lomachenko is just Nomas, man. And those are not top level guys. Those are not superstar guys that were giving Vasyl Lomachenko problems or, pretty much muted the idea that nobody can figure out how to stay around and they get so frustrated that they quit. Personally, I never believed that because, I do have a conspiratory side. And when 3 guys quit in a row, just quit, that just... I really wasn't buying it, man. But anyway, now you have a situation where he's going to be fighting Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez is not the type of guy that Vasyl Lomachenko has been fighting. He's very young, he's very talented, and he has tremendous punching power. I think that what Top Rank is trying to do is that Top Rank is trying to make a star out of Teofimo Lopez. Lomachenko is, and I've said this in other videos, Lomachenko is a little bit on his way down. He's definitely reached, he's definitely at the top, at the height of his career, right? Or, down off of his prime. Him and Alexander Usyk, both these guys continually getting injured. Like Lomachenko had surgery, he got dropped, his eyes look like paper mache up there. Or Alexander Usyk has sustained 2 injuries in a row to keep him from fighting Derek Chisora. Just, these guys have had a lot of wear and tear on their bodies, even though they have not had that many professional fights. So I just think that it's that time for them. It's a way to save money off their budget. And at the same time, put Teofimo Lopez in a situation where he can win that belt. Bob Arum has said that they don't put he said he doesn't put his young contenders in fights against for belts that he doesn't think that they have a high likelihood of winning. I think that this is probably close to that type of thing with Teofimo Lopez and Vasyl Lomachenko. I think there's something in these guys, something with these matchmakers that they see that say that this young bull can beat that old veteran. Now, another reason why I think this fight is a flop in the making, or flop in the waiting, or flop in the making. It's flop in the making. I think this guy's a flop that this thing is a flop in the making is because they are going to be counter programmed most likely by a fight at the same weight class with guys it's not going to be on pay-per-view, with guys with bigger fan bases. So let me tell you again, the fight with Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko has a chance of being counter-programmed by 2 fighters in the same weight class who both have higher profiles than Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. And that is a fight between Gervonta Tank Davis and Leo Santa Cruz. Leo Santa Cruz was interviewed by Fight Hub, and he said that he believed that his next fight was going to be in May, right? So it's not going to be Cinco de Mayo. So that's one weekend. That's one weekend gone. All right, because more than likely Canelo's going to fight on that week. I don't think that they're going to fight on Cinco de Mayo. They might fight on Cinco de Mayo because Leo Santa Cruz is Mexican, and Gervonta Tank Davis is well known. It sold well in LA. So you might do that, but I think more than likely, man, it's going to be later in the month. But there's a significant chance that they wind up getting counter-programmed by that fight. And I just don't think that fight, there's more people are going to be interested in watching, a significant amount of people are going to be interested in watching Leo Santa Cruz and Gervonta Davis versus Vasyl Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. Now, I do believe personally that the Teofimo Lopez and Vasyl Lomachenko is a better fight. And it's a fight that's of more interest to me. But I don't know. I think that at the very least, you're going to pull a lot of people that would watch Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez over to another fight. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Like talking about these little guys every once in a while. We'll see what goes down. And anyway, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you guys so much for watching the video to this point. Truly, truly appreciate you. And thank you to everybody for joining as a member. And with that, I'm out. Peace.